Good morning, everyone. I'm Rick Noriega, Executive Director of Universal Services Department, Smart County here. And it's great to be with you again. This is our 6th edition, I believe, of Tech Talk. And today we have a really exciting guest that's with us, Dr. Milton Rahman. And we're super proud to have him. He is our new Director of the Office of County Engineering. Now, when we visit today and we're through with our discussion, I want to remind everyone we'll have about 10 minutes of being able to send in questions for Dr. Rahman. And so let's just get started and jump right in. First, welcome. Welcome to your Universal Services, Dr. Rahman. It's good to have you here in person. You know, we've worked together, been a friend of ours, we've worked on projects together, and we're super excited to have you and congratulate you as a new Director of Office of Harris County Engineering. So welcome.
Well, thank you, General Noriega. Thank you for inviting me to this Tech Talk event. I've watched a few of them in the past. It's been great, and I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you, talk to our guests here, and answer any question y'all have, share some of my vision. But before I go there, I want to start by saying thank you for inviting me. This is a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. Well, so that folks get a chance to know you a bit, your background. Our work together. You previously were working in Precinct 2. There as the Deputy Director and Executive Director, and I'm familiar with your vast experience, having come from San Antonio and your successes there. Talk to us a little bit about your background and who is Dr. Milton Rahman.
Thank you, General. So again, I'm born in Bangladesh, a first-generation immigrant here in this country. I moved to United States at the age of 25. So to give you an idea, Bangladesh is actually the South Asia, where it's an old British colony, as it was part of British India. Mm-hmm. So as I said, so in Bangladesh, two of the major problems, the city grown up, it's called Dhaka, and it has a population of 21 million.
Wow.
So it's actually it's the 6th densely populated cities in the world.
Amazing.
So as you know, with densely populated places, there's two major challenges: congestion, and also Bangladesh has actually 1.5 times the amount of rainfall that Houston receives.
Wow.
So 75 inch every year.
Uh-huh.
And flooding.
Wow.
So congestion and flooding is the two top
so you've grown up in an environment and have witnessed the demand, the need for infrastructure and things that can make communities better. What about your educational background? So tell us, I mean, how did you earn your PhD, and how did you get involved as an engineer in projects you've worked on?
So thank you. So in terms of so I did my bachelor's, is mostly focused on civil engineering and flooding, actually water resources.
Oh, wow.
Moved to UT San Antonio and did my master's on civil engineering, focusing on roadway and pavements. And as I was doing, I started working for City of San Antonio, and then the department chair one day asked, "Hey, we got these exciting projects, and wanted to see if you want to do a PhD." I said, "You know what?
Wow.
Not a bad idea."
Awesome.
So started my PhD there, focused on rainfall impacts on our roadway, how it damages, and depending on different areas, the pavement life would be different.
Well, I tell you what, I think that we're collectively are going to be the beneficiaries of both your experience and your education, and here in Harris County, as we collectively work on projects to make our county better, both immediately and long term. So won't you share with all of our friends, our colleagues, a little bit about your vision now that you're all of how many days old as a director?
It's about 6 weeks, I'll say.
About 6 weeks old. So what's your vision of the engineering department and what we can expect to see, where we're headed in your leadership?
So my initial goals and vision, well, the very first one is serving our customers. Want to make engineering department a customer service focused department. And in order to do that, we need to have a workforce that is well trained, well valued. So investing on our people is one of my number one priority. Giving them the appropriate training, giving them the appropriate tools that we need is very important. So, and I'll say the third important thing that we have, that my initial goal is develop an efficient project management system. Part of engineering, one of the things that we do, we have 730 plus projects in flight right now. We got to be able to land those projects, do it successfully. And in order to do this, we got to be efficient. By saying efficient, the way we procure the contract, multiple people's hand in county, goes through county auditor, county purchasing, goes through a lot of your system, you build a PeopleSoft, and it eventually goes to court. So the goal is to make sure that we have a sense of urgency in delivering those projects, come up with some workflow that really helps. And we can pay our vendor in a quick time frame. We can ensure the quality of the projects, of the materials are good. And finally, focusing on our core values, that we are transparent, we are accountable. So one of my preliminary goal or task actually to create a task force to refine or review the mission and vision of the department and actually set up the core value for the department. That's one of my 90-day goals.
Sure. Well, I empathize. I mean, I see a lot of parallel in both of our coming into a department, that the blocking and tackling, the primary building blocks, fundamental building blocks of transitioning a department. It sounds as though you're well on your way, and I couldn't agree with you more on the invest in people. I mean, they're our number one resource here in the county. Our employees and making sure we take care of them. So with that, what are some of the goals you'd like to accomplish? Maybe like, let's just say, what can we see in the first 100 days from your leadership?
So as I mentioned earlier, that we have in the first 100 days, we have some key initiatives that we want to make sure. But I'll say we want to make sure we identified 8 modules of training for our staff member. That's mostly the soft training piece, which is your customer service training, Title 6 training, behavioral training, if you will, the soft skills. So we want to make sure that within 90 days, all of my staffs are trained on those pieces from the customer.
Can I ask your help on one thing?
Yes.
As a reminder to all of our team members across the county, each and every one of us are the first defense against cybersecurity. And so state law has mandated for us to go through cybersecurity awareness training. And so we're just reminding everybody we got till August. And so we're hoping that we can better communicate a little sense of urgency prior to August to get everybody trained up. So hopefully, maybe you might consider inculcating that in some of those soft skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, security and cybersecurity is one of the key issues, considering that the data we work on, a lot of these things are sensitive and can be abused. And
yeah. So I interrupted you though. Your key initiative there. Real quickly, you want to touch on some of the projects we've been working on together? E-permits, Noriega, Cartograph that's coming online.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, one of my key goal is efficient project management, and some of the things that we do is integral part of what Universal Service is assisting us. Integration of Noriega to PeopleSoft. The way we can make sure that we don't have to double and to significantly help. That's an initiative our office is working with, General Liu. And also e-builder with PeopleSoft. That the integration of that piece would be significantly beneficial. But I definitely want to mention two additional initiatives. One is we are building a new customer-focused website for the department, and your team is helping us greatly. So I want to thank you on that one. The final one I want to touch on is the Universal Services initiative on our building automation and resilient infrastructure, creating a resilient infrastructure system for the entire county in our facilities. Yes, so that's awesome. That will come forward in the future days. We will work with you and your staff to make sure that we provide the service and create a next generation county, if you will,
Sure.
The smart counties.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we're excited. I mean, we've worked together on some award-winning projects.
Yeah.
The e-permit project was recognized by the regional smart cities nonprofit organizations, and was a real success for both of us. You want to touch on that, on the e-builders and what that does? E-permit, excuse me.
Absolutely. So e-permit is a permitting software that our permittee, or the folks that need building permits, they can submit their permits online. And this was developed by Universal Service in-house. And as you mentioned, that this is a great success of what we can do in terms of building a custom software. As a matter of fact, everywhere I go, in the last few weeks, I've been in different associations, and everybody, the one place I get, can you get some other agency in this region on that permit system? Is that efficient? Is that good? And it has received numerous awards, and customer feedback has been great so far.
Well, I think to build on that has been your leadership on Cartograph and where that's going to take the county and our commissioners and others in terms of projects and where they are. You want to talk a little bit about the Cartograph program, a project we're working on together?
Yes. So one of the things, since I started with the county in the precinct, I started observing that there is a need of integrated asset management in terms of infrastructure. The service life, the service that we do on an asset, and when to commission, and when it needs to be decommissioned and completely redone and replaced. A lot of this data, and data is everything. So this integrated asset management system in terms of infrastructure is gonna be a flagship project for the county, and it's a must needed one, because transparency is everything in our business. One of the things I want to really focus on what we do here in engineering and also countywide is how transparent we are. Anybody should be able to find how much we spend on a certain infrastructure, on a signal light, on a road, on a drainage ditch, on the life. It doesn't only help the citizens that one, we are working, two, also understand our budget office, our resources need on those infrastructures. So I'm really excited of the integration of the deployment of that asset management system you mentioned. So thank you.
Well, and we're also excited about how that's going to integrate with the 311 that's being rolled out now with our commissioners and our other customers, such as flood control, pollution control, and others, HECTRA, of how 311 then is going to be able to augment or complement what you just described in terms of Cartograph. So hopefully that will be an entry point, a pathway to integrate with Cartograph, so that in terms of your transparency vision too, is to be able to show whomever they can get online. This I call 311. This pothole is or whatever is reported through precinct 4, precinct 1, 2, 3, whatever, and then they are, everybody's in sync with engineering and with their project leads in the precincts to be able to get that customer's need resolved. So we're really excited about this particular development moving forward. Any other projects you want to share that are kind of on the front burner that we need to be sensitive to?
I would say that that 311 integration with Cartograph, with our work order, so we are talking about our project in the calls to creating our work order to our asset management, the integration of the 3 pieces with our financial software, PeopleSoft. Once we are done, that would create significant efficiency. I think that would be one of my priority, and I want to work collaboratively with Universal Service to see how we can make that happen. That when we can save significant amount of man hours, duplicate entries, and rework, to be honest with you, and save resources from government. So
yeah, well, that's exciting. We're really excited about your leadership and what you're going to bring to, and your vision bring to the engineering department, and how that's going to collectively make us better. I think us working together, it's somewhat of the math equation. 1 + 1 is 3. Yeah. That's where we're working toward. And I did want to share with you too that from our end, you were looking at my org chart earlier and saying, hey, I want to be able to, we need to go through in engineering as you're working on your vision and your team and so forth. In PeopleSoft, one of the next modules that's going to be integrated in is a very robust human resources component, being led by Ravi on our team, and that's going to help us to allow yourself and your team to build your org charts and so forth, and have some transparency in that too with PeopleSoft. So more to come on that as we get a little bit more, hopefully by the end of this year, this short fiscal year, and so forth. So I think I'm coming to a stop point real quick so that I want to encourage everyone again, please submit your questions for Dr. Rahman regarding anything, what he thinks about University of Houston's run to the Final Four, to the weather, or whatever. But as our guest today, I want to make sure that we're capturing some of the questions out there from our colleagues throughout the county. So please start inputting in your questions. So as give me a little bit of an idea on your 700 and some odd projects, how those coincide. I mean, we're in April, tomorrow, and pretty soon we'll get into, obviously everybody's awareness heightens with as we move into the storm season and hurricane season. What would you say the percentage of those projects are, those 700, that are flood control type and water abatement issues of that? How much of that is your work?
So one of the key initiatives that we are working on is flood resiliency. We have 90 something projects that are on flight right now in different stages: design, construction, bid. It's valued at about $600 million. The goal is to build 90% of the project by the end of 2024.
Wow.
We
That's
are
significant.
on schedule. I also want to say that redistricting did not impact any of these projects. This is funded by the Flood Controls Bond Program, and I think this would be a key initiative in terms of getting flood resiliency for the county.
Well, that actually answers one of the first questions that we had here about, it says, what's your plans to collaborate with flood control? It sounds as though you're already doing that,
Yes.
Hand in glove with them. Here's a question for you, Dr. Rahman, from Anonymous, which usually means it's one of your employees. So it's very encouraging that one of your priorities is investing in people. How would you ensure that investment is done equitably and that evaluation and recognition practices will not adversely impact the advancement of women, single parents, and or minorities?
Right. So, very good question. And one of the things is building a diverse organization is one of my priority. And diverse organization means being an immigrant, and being able to see the collaborative minds often produce a better results than a homogeneous mind. So in the recognition, we are developing a program at this time to recognize folks if they are representing the core values of the department. They are being on the top of managing their project based on CPI, SPI. There will be a monthly recognition, there will be a quarterly recognition, and addressing those in terms of inequities. We're gonna come up with a fairness, a fair evaluation process. It's not gonna be based on a black box of what the supervisors think. It's gonna be based on some peers, not that the overall recognition process, oftentimes we are always, hesitant that, is our boss is gonna fail to recognize us because they're just the boss, right? or evaluate us. So the idea of the recognition process, one of the key principles I'm adding is also customer service based. So, which means it's gonna be a feedback loop. So we get 5 phone calls from our clients, which could be the precinct, which could be the citizens, which could be from a nonprofit that, hey, employee A exhibited excellent project management skill set, went above and beyond to help us out. Those are gonna be the key feedback we are taking. But it's not gonna be like one way, it's also at the same time, we're not gonna ignore the supervisors' feedback as well. But it's gonna, the feedback and the evaluation process is gonna come from multiple ways, so that it's not from one individual telling that, individual A is the best versus individual B is the best. In terms of, the empowering the female, empowering the single parents. One of the things we're working on is at this time is the flexible work policy and how we can accommodate in different business. One of my core philosophies, we gotta make our work policy geared towards the market, not just based on, well, county has always done this. That's what we have said when we, you ask your human resource director, those are the question, oh, we have always done this, and I want to get that away from.
Yes.
How are we going to attract the next generation workforce is one of my key priorities.
Yes.
Some of the initiative that we're looking at as part of the 90 days is actually the new 111 Fannin building that we are in.
Yes.
Is to looking at the feasibility of if we can create a childcare center at the first floors at the same unit. Can we have a gym for our employees to make sure that they can, they get their workout done and
you got my vote.
You
got my vote on that. Yeah. That's excellent. Well, that really, while I'm waiting for some more questions here, is a great transition in terms of physical structures right now, facilities and property management. I talked a little bit about smart county, and there are a lot of folks out there that are talking about, smart buildings as well, and smart parking lots too, right? How that the collection of data all goes into helping us know whether the energy usage is and I think folks are starting to understand that in the county, we collect so much data. I mean, from every card swipe to every keystroke, et cetera, tremendous amount of data is collected by the county, and then how we aggregate that to be smarter for our policymakers to make decisions. In terms of the space, the new environment, post-COVID, people's work habits, what they become accustomed to. I know you're having the same challenges that that all of us are having across the country now that COVID has somewhat lifted a bit. How do you see the physical structures of the county, our future workforce needs? How is that? How are we going to have the right footprint for the future workforce of Harris County, let's say in 2025, 2030? How much space do we need? How much do we not need, et cetera, et cetera? What do we sell? What do we build?
So, excellent question. As a matter of fact, we have an initiative to evaluate all of our facilities and needs. We are working on that. We are at the initiation phase of the project. We plan to finish this first phase, rapid assessment phase, by the end of this fiscal year. And one of the key considerations is, like I said, COVID taught us one thing. Many of the jobs we thought that cannot be done other than coming to desk every day, we learned that it can be done.
Yes.
And as we make decision in terms about space planning, space needs, facility needs, this would be key consideration. As county, as General, that is developing a county-wide work home policy.
Yes.
And then what I have tasked my division managers and the directors to assess each unit, that how we can work differently, more flexibly, to provide that flexibility to our staff. And also without compromising the efficiency of the job function. Not, again, we have some tasks that I cannot do from home. For example, your HVAC unit is going down. So if the air is not working in the building, I cannot work from home at this time. So, but there are many tasks we can do.
Yes. Let me jump here to a question. Can you elaborate just a bit on your views on sustainability?
Absolutely. So again, as we go through this building facility assessment, one of the things that we're going to need is try to see how we can make sure that our buildings are running on efficiently. We are converting to all the LED lighting for the entire county. In terms of green infrastructure, back, I'll tell you my precinct days, we have started the first Envision project for Harris County. It's actually for entire Texas, that was the first horizontal project. So I'm a big proponent of sustainability, because what we want to do, end of the day, I want to make sure that my son, he's 7 years old, after 10 years, he doesn't say, Daddy, I don't want to stay here in Houston, I want to go to San Diego. So the government sure that we have a place or we can work, live, and play.
Yeah. On the 750 million that we're working in, how do you prioritize those for the most need? As an example, say potentially in low-income areas and things. How do you prioritize those particular projects? That's a question that came in too.
So, those projects that's in the list already, it's been vetted out back before the bond. Flood control district, I'm working closely with flood control district and county administrator's office to come up with a prioritization criteria for drainage project at this time. There's been few discussion at the Commissioner's Court about what the criteria should be. But again, as most of you probably have heard the Commissioner's Court, social vulnerability and flood vulnerability, who has the most chance of getting flooded every time it rains, will be a high priority in selecting those projects.
Yeah. Let me mention real quick, if we run out of time, your questions will be answered when we post this. So if I don't get to it, really good question here from our director of broadband, John Spears. How do you see the county coordinating on the infrastructure bill, federal infrastructure bill that are coming down the pipe? How is the county going to coordinate with those funds potentially coming in?
So as many of you probably already know, one of the key initiatives the court has, our intergovernmental affairs team is keeping us updated of what bills coming, what federal programs we're going to have. So we are keeping a close eye on that. At the same time, as you know, one of the push from many of our court members are to get some direct assistance, have more direct assistance grant program that we are lobbying at the federal level and the federal departments rather than coming through our state. So one of the reason is a lot of the time we don't want to, Harris County is big and our needs are significant. As many of you know that Harris County, if it would be a state, would be the 25th state. So, and we have the capability of managing those large grants. We have done it successfully. So we are pleading our case that the federal government should give us some direct assistance grant on many of the infrastructure. So we are keeping an eye of what programs coming down the pipeline through that infrastructure bill, from which department, whether it's coming from Federal Highway Administration or HUD. A lot of those programs has not defined yet. So, but we are keeping a close eye.
Will we see more women in engineering and in leadership?
Absolutely.
That's a good note to, I think, to wrap up and to end on. Dr. Rahman, this has been a great visit with you. We're excited about your leadership and your appointment to this very critical position in Harris County. And of course, Universal Services is your partner and always there. And we're looking forward to our future projects and all the great work we're going to do together. I want to thank everybody for joining in on, I think, our 6th, maybe, or 7th Tech Talk. More to come. Look forward to seeing you soon. Thank everybody for joining, and please stand by for this particular recording being posted and with your questions being answered. Thank you very much. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.